finding a way to organize yourself and to have a clear way of approaching your tasks and your life, it's such an invaluable asset. Good morning. I'm right here, right next to this beautiful thing. I'm going right now to get lunch, and then I'm gonna schedule my whole day. I want to do a video about it to kind of walk you through how I think about like scheduling my day in general, and kind of tell you like where I came from and how I became more organized. So let's do that. Is it even open? Okay, so why would you have a piano if you don't want people to play it? That's kind of nonsense. And I would love to play this piano, but anyways. Okay, so it's good that we found the place. And now we gotta eat. So let's do that. That looks so yummy. So in this video, I want to talk about an important topic that I think is massively undervalued, which is planning and scheduling things out and making sure you have the right calendar in place and all these things, and making sure you have your right shot with your camera, which is massively important, and I don't have it. But I think a massively important thing that most people skip is having a plan for their week, for their month, for their year, right? I want to tell you, like, for you, if you're trying to get organized right now, if you're trying to schedule things out and have a better grasp on your schedule, firsthand, I want to tell you that I'm probably one of the most unorganized I'm one of the most unorganized people that I know. And taking that in consideration and looking at how I'm organizing myself right now, it's pretty intense. So here's kind of my story. I've started to work on this agency probably 2 years ago, and in this kind of path of working at it, I started obviously being extremely unorganized, and there was some moments in my kind of journey of growing this agency in which I realized that there's no way for me to keep track of all these things that are happening. There's no way for me to meet with so many people at the same time and do all these things without having some way to keep track of all these things, without keeping my mind busy with all of that, right? I started off by doing my schedule on paper. That was pretty hardcore. Like when I was at the bank and talking with my representative at the bank, and she was saying something important, I just took out my paper, noted down, and that's how I did it. Did that for a while. Then one of my good friends kind of like pressured me to start using Google Calendar, which is a great tool that I'm using right now. And since that moment, I've really kind of developed a system that works for me, and I want to share that with you so that maybe it helps you to develop some sort of better way to organize your life in order to have more mind space and think less about anything else other than what you're doing, right? So I'm going to walk you through right now. I've made some notes on how I do things. Obviously, these are really fancy notes right here. The way I kind of think about my scheduling is I have one core principle that I kind of follow. And that core principle is the fact that I'm usually a really distracted person. So if I know that I have to get 200 things done at once, I won't be able to focus and do anything, right? And because I have so much stuff going on, my team, my family, my company, future projects, this and that, this client did this client did that, this account manager did this happened, what do you think about this, what do you think about that, let's meet up, let's have this. Like, because there's so many things happening, it's too overwhelming to think about all of them. So what I do is, for me, the way I approach everything in my schedule is I want to be able to schedule everything out so that I can focus on the most important task at hand, right? So if I have my whole week scheduled, I have everything scheduled. I'm going to work on that from Friday from 4 p.m. to 5:30. I'm going to work on that on Tuesday from 3 to 4. I'm going to meet with this person breakfast on Wednesday. Like, if I have all of those scheduled out, that leaves me with a really massive advantage, and that is giving 100% to the next task at hand and focusing on that. And that's so life-changing for me. That's kind of the core principle. Now, in regards to what I use 3 things. I don't want to have a lot of things in my mind, and when I get an idea or when I get something, when I get something to think about or to do or to delegate or to schedule, whatever it is, I want to have those things in as few places possible. I don't have 20 notepads, 30 post-it notes, all these things. I keep everything in 3 places, and that is my Clear app, my Google Calendar, and my email. The Clear app is this app right here. Let me just show you. So the app right there is called Clear. You can find it on App Store. If you're using Android, then Google Keep is the best app you can get. So that's one. I keep things in my Google Keep. The next one is my Google Calendar, and I have this both on my computer and my phone. On the phone, looks something like this. Okay, let me show you. I hope you can see it. Let's put the focus there. So this is how my Google Calendar looks like. Okay, I schedule all my tasks in there, and that's how it looks like. And then email. So what I do specifically is each and every Sunday and each and every Saturday and sometimes even Sunday, I have a couple of hours. For me, it's kind of like 5 to 8 hours, but for you, it'll probably be less or more, who knows, in which I just go through my Clear, through my calendar, through my email, and just do what I'm supposed to do. And for actually the tasks, I follow this simple rule, which is, I'm gonna show this to you. Hope you can see that. It is, how is it? It's do, it's schedule, delegate, do, or don't do. Hope you can see that. So I follow this rule. So when I have a task at hand, I do one of these 4 things. I either delegate it, or I schedule it for myself to do it, or I do it, or I don't do it. Okay? Don't do it means essentially that idea or that whatever is not something to go down the path of, and I just don't do it. So let me recap a little bit. Every single idea, task, and something that I need to get done is gonna go in my Clear, in my calendar, or in my email. Each and every week, I have a couple of hours in my calendar as an event in which I go through all these 3 things, and I either delegate it, schedule it for myself to do, I do it right then and there because it's a simple task and takes 2 minutes, or I don't do it because it's not worth it anymore. Okay? So that's kind of the rules I follow. Now, of course, there's a lot of things that play into this, and like, for example, the fact that you gotta do them, like, we need to have the discipline in order to do those things in the first place. But for me, how this helped me is really, it gave me like enough headspace to focus only on the next task at hand, and I want to use like an extra minute because that's my system right there. It's simple, you know, and this system has allowed me to put out more output and more results, I think with a factor of 10. This has 10x my results just because I'm using a clear system that it's organized, and I have a lot of meetings, I have all these things, and they're out of my head, they're in the computer, they're in the phone, you know? So I wanna address some things that you might be thinking of with the last minute I have. And here are some things. So one, I believe that freedom and spontaneity is not something that's taken out of when you have a clear schedule, okay? So here's what I mean by that. If you have a clear schedule in your life, that doesn't mean that you will have no freedom in your life. That's bullshit, you know? So that's out, okay? Because when you have a schedule, you're gonna be able to give 100% fully of yourself in each and every activity that you do, and not think about the next thing and the next thing, and what about this and what about that and what about this, and how have I talked to this person, has this person went on and did this and that, so the other thing. So I don't think that's valuable. Another thing that you may think of is, yeah, okay, but I will not be able to do the tasks and that will make me disappointed. That's so big of an excuse, you know, like, so you don't want to schedule the things out because you're not gonna do them and that will make you disappointed. Well, in that case, you should be so disappointed in the first place because you're thinking that. Like, that just doesn't make sense. The way you need to think about it is you need to test this out, put it in the works, and see if it fits you. And if it doesn't, just adopt it to your style and maybe give more time for yourself. If you want an hour for a task, give yourself an hour and a half or two. Just play with it. You gotta play with it, experiment with it to find something that works for you. But finding a way to organize yourself and to have a clear way of approaching your tasks and your life, it's such an invaluable asset. It's such an invaluable skill, and it will help you put out more stuff and impact more people and be more productive and be more happy and be more present. So I think that's really, really valuable. So that's kind of my overview of the way I schedule things and I organize myself. Now I'm gonna go and do exactly that, because this is a Sunday morning right now, kind of like lunch period, and I need to get everything done for the upcoming week so that my team has guidelines and has everything that they need in order to go out and kill it, because they're awesome. Okay, so thank you so much for watching. This has been Catalin, and see you tomorrow. What I did is I went jet skiing, and I told you a little bit about like what the adrenaline I think is doing to you and why I think that's helpful.